What's up, everybody? How you doing? What's up, Mark?
Good evening.
Hey, so, hey, you're gonna do something a little different this week. We're not gonna have the intro music. How you feel about that?
I don't feel great about that at all.
It's all right, man. We're working on a new one. So when the new one drops, we'll be ready. Hopefully by next week, we'll have a new video for next week because I got tired of it getting mutilated online as we streamed. I really hated that.
It was getting chopped up.
Yeah, I really hated that. So we got to do something different. Got to figure out a way to bring that thing back and make it beautiful. But working on something new. Let me see. What up, Joel?
What up? What up? I was
What's
looking at because we go live on the IG. So shout out to everyone on IG. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. What up,
Yep.
Joe? Um, and it's 20 seconds like a delay from Restream or YouTube and IG.
Yeah, I know that, man. That's why I try to get people to come from Instagram to IG. But I feel like we miss out on a lot of fans and people that want to pay attention to what's going on IG. So that's why I stream it on all platforms, so that way everybody gets a chance to see what's up. You see, I got my special shirt on today.
Yeah, I like it, man.
Hey, actually, I think it's a good day to wear this shirt because today we're going to talk about card art and custom cards. We got a special guest today, Tom, aka Card Carver. Are you familiar with him?
No, but as always, man, really excited about all the guests that you have on. Shout out to Chef Javar, CMC, Embro Cards, Rex 06319. Thank
Yeah,
you for chiming in. We got a couple gems for you guys, and here to answer any questions or any hot topics that you guys might have as well.
that's dope. You going anywhere special this weekend?
Yeah, actually just booked my flight to Detroit. And it's actually one of the first times they've had a big event, a big card show in Detroit. I've never been, but really excited to get out there. Have a buddy out there that I've been dying to meet. So get a chance to have dinner with him and his family over the weekend and, talk about cards all week.
Man, I know this week was kind of rough, man. I actually forgot one topic, and I'm actually about to add it right now. But before
Hello
we
from
kind of,
Australia over here, man. So
you
one
say
on
you
one
what?
MC, man. Thank you for chiming in.
You say you got what from somebody
It
from
said
Australia?
hello from Australia,
What? Don't tell me you got people out in Australia watching the show.
and it's
You
early.
lying?
I think it's early in the morning over there. I think it's like 10 a.m.
No way. Hold on. Time out. Where you at? Oh, 101 MC. What up, man? I can't even lie to you. I appreciate you chiming in over there in Australia. That's dope. I like
Yeah,
that. I like
for
that.
sure.
Yeah, so today we got a special guest, aka Tom Card Carver, and what I want to do is bring him on very shortly. But before we bring him on really shortly, I kind of want to talk about the fact about card art. And I mean, how do you feel about it before we bring him on?
Well, I mean, it's a new space for me. I mean, you see all the custom stuff that's coming out, and honestly, it takes me back to the days where there was a lot of innovation and creation. You know, the clear metals of the world with the precious metal gems, the Topps Chrome refractors, and some of the new stuff that's coming out. Right, the custom stuff is pretty dope. But remember when you did that feature with OTE and Tops and you guys were doing the whole art and card art, and then I guess it shined a light on what could be in the space.
Man, I think even before then, though, I started paying attention to card art. Man, I don't remember some of the people I seen early, but I know I definitely seen a couple of the guys I'm probably going to mention very shortly. I mean, we seen Piggy Banks, we seen Natural, we seen Card Carver, we seen it's another guy who does custom cards for Tops. Man, I
Ben
just seen it.
Baller, like
No,
that.
no. It was a guy we met this past weekend in Houston. He literally came over and spoke to me, and I cannot remember his name. Golly, he probably gonna beat me up. Oh yeah, Alex the what's his name? Alex the I think he does. I know he does custom cards. I can't remember, and I ain't gonna lie to you. Don't beat me up, but I will be breaking. I do have some fresh products. I'm probably gonna rip today for all the guys that send me card art and custom cards and some of the dope things that they ship me in the mail. So I'm probably gonna rip some and display some through the course of the show. But without further ado, I think we're gonna go ahead and bring in Tom. What you think?
Time out, man. How
What's
you
up?
gonna wear a fire hat like that? And I guess we're gonna talk about it. But man,
What's up?
really digging the hat.
Yeah,
I don't really like that you have my homie Kid Culture at the top, but
yeah. I
I am
mean,
digging the Culture Collision hat, man. And like Vic said, sheesh.
hey, I mean, it's been a long time coming. I can't even lie to you. I'll tell you a little short story about this after we're done today about the hat and how to get the hat. And there will not be a lot of these hats, and I'm not remaking any of these hats, but I can tell you this is only 100 made. That's it. and you're not going to find them at New Era. You're not going to find them online or anything like that.
Well, you might
I'm
find them
sorry.
online if you go to your website, but I
Well,
don't know where you're going to be
Well,
selling them
I
at.
said I got to talk about that later. I don't want to talk too much about it. I said we're going to talk about that later. But without further ado, I'd like to bring on Tom. What up, Tom?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for
What's
having
going
me.
on, Carver?
Hey, what's going on? So today, I mean, we have a cool topic about card art and custom cards. Like, before we kind of talk about that, I want to kind of get your take on how you got into the hobby and what led you into creating your own cards.
Well, I've been a collector really my whole life. As a kid, I collected cards, comics, stickers, coins, just about everything. And I think, like a lot of people, I kind of started to stop collecting towards the end of high school. And then for me, I got back into it when I became a father for the first time, and my first child was old enough to start playing baseball, like t-ball. To me, it was like, oh, you're playing baseball now, we're going to get you some cards. And that's how I wound up getting back into it. I started with packs at Walmart, and then I was buying cards on eBay, and then I started sniping cards. And then I was like, well, these Anthony Rizzo cards are really cool. Maybe I'll start keeping one of these for me. And I started building a collection. And that's how I got back into it as an adult.
Nice. That sounds dope, man. I mean, it's always good when you can bring your kids in and do something together. And I think I'm looking forward to that more than anything with my own son. So I like that a lot. That's a great story.
Yeah, thank you. It's been cool. I've been really lucky to bond with my kids through the hobby. They come to the shows. I've got 3 children, and my oldest is very much into the hobby. Just loves it. Knows more about modern cards and stuff than I do, to be honest. And
nice.
Yeah, the other 2 are into it too. So
yeah, just be careful with those kids, man. I gave my son a big old Pokemon collection that he had for a few years, and we went to Collecticon in Houston, and he kind of spit it off a little bit, and he comes back with all this money in his hand, and I'm like, "Where did you get all that money from?" He was like, "Oh, I went to this booth over there, and they bought all my Pokemon cards." I was like,
yeah.
I said, "Man, I didn't even know you had them on you, man."
That's
But
funny.
apparently, he bought a backpack, man. He got sold out at Collecticon here in Houston.
That's right.
That's funny.
Hey,
Yeah.
I was going to say, too, for the guys who actually are listening and watching, just so you guys know, if you've been to Coach Collision, the last Coach Collision that we actually have, Tom is actually the guy in the brains for the custom art that was featured at Culture Collision, which is very like a such card like this. Mickey Mouse Bo Jackson card. I can't even say the right name. And the Victor Wembanyama Campbell Soup card. That's a really cool card too.
Those are on the dealer passes, right?
Yeah, actually. So we're gonna talk about that story in a minute, but let me show this last card. The last card is one of my favorite cards because I really did not know that he made it like a flare metal. So I was just like, this is crazy how he just did this, man. And being able to see this brought to life through just an idea that he had. So the funny story, just so you know, Tom, and I kind of told you a little bit about it. When he first pitched this idea and he sent it to me, right? He was like, "Hey, look, what do you think it is?" And I'm like, "This is dope. This is dope as hell. I like this." But then he turned around and then I don't think he expected me to come up with the idea using them as for passes, but it just so happened that he gave me 3 different images, and my wife hated every idea that I did. She was like, she hated every idea that I
Joe's
did.
putting you on blast, man.
So,
hold on, I don't get time out. Joe said, "Where's his Wimby that's supposed to be in the mail, man?"
Hey, oh yeah. But look, check this out. You said who said that?
That's Joe, man. You remember you were giving him away 2 weeks ago. He sent you his address. You never mailed it to him.
Oh, you know what? I apologize, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. True story. I ain't been home in like 10 days, and I literally just got home. And I'll try to get that out to you tomorrow. I promise. But trust me, they ain't going nowhere. You will get it. Because I actually have some more stuff to give away today anyway. So we'll figure it out. So everybody's gonna get something. So I apologize. But like I literally did some card art, and my wife hated it. She hated everything. I literally had sent her, what was the thing? I don't know if I could actually display it, but I literally sent Tom this thing with like, "Hey, look, what do you think it is?" He was like, "Oh my gosh, it's fire." and we went from there. And that was literally how the badges and everything came to play. But what's funny is I've always incorporated art and culture collision since the very first show, and people don't really realize that. But for me, it really clicked in my head that it needs to be a part of the show, and it needs to be a part of every show. And the importance. I mean, it's the importance of, like, we visually look at cards and we look at cards as art, and I've been saying this for years. Is art plays a big key in a collectible space. It's just people don't really see it as art. Everybody doesn't see it as art, but it's like we need to look at it as art, because these are kind of like something that resonate with us, and like sneakers and hats and toys and everything else. They all have an artistic view that somebody created, from scratch. So shout out to people like yourself, Tom.
Well, the neat thing is, right, and you talk about innovation, right? You talk about creativity, through card art, right? It birthed the kabooms, right, that we're chasing. It births new parallels like the cherry blossoms that just came out that are pretty dope right now. So, I mean, we're always looking for that. Now, we're not looking for 16,000 parallels in a set, right? But the cool ones that really resonate and really stick out. And man, look at those cards that were created, right? And just through that innovation. And like I said, they were really cool. I didn't know where they came from, but I knew I had this dealer pack when we were in in Atlanta for Culture Collision at the last show. And they are really dope, man. So I didn't know you did it, Carver, but man,
I did.
They are really dope, man. So man, kudos to you and your team for getting that done.
Yeah, that was cool because it created a different aspect where the badge was more than just a badge. It wasn't.
We're gonna have to supersize them a little bit this year, though, for the next one, man. Make them a little bigger, I think. Just little feedback.
Oh, you talking about on the badges?
Yeah.
You could go bigger, but also like you almost, if you're gonna start putting art on them, and what I was gonna say is that it had people coming to my booth and asking me to sign their badge for them.
Oh wow,
which was really dope too. So I mean, from that aspect, and where Beckett will authenticate my autograph, maybe it's better for it to be more closer to a trading card size. I mean, you don't want it to be too small, but I don't know if I would go bigger.
Yeah, no, hey, I'm just saying in that aspect, yeah, because no one likes them big brick slabs. Right. They don't fit anywhere. You can't carry them around. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, it was an impulsive idea, and it was probably the best idea at the time. That when we were trying to figure out what we're gonna do with these badges, and then he gave up this great idea, and I was just like, this is the idea. And my wife was like, this is it. And then he okayed it. And I was like, well, this is it. Then we're going to go with this. And, but yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, that's the dope part of being able to create like a show, is being able to come out with all these cool ideas and work with great people like yourself. But, I mean, another thing too, Tom, is can you talk to people like how you got into doing your card art, and what motivated you to do it?
It actually, it goes back to getting back into collecting cards again. And at some point through that, I started seeing people that collect cards on Instagram. And then I ran into people that were making card art. And I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. And, I started following more of them. And I was just kind of really observing for a while. And knowing in the back of my head, I started getting the thought, I could totally do this. I think that I could do it pretty well. And my oldest son bought a box of like 90 Don Russ or something from our LCS during COVID. And we had ripped all the packs and had a pile of old junk cards. And we were like, what are we going to do with them? And I started cutting them up. And that's really how it all started.
Who are some of the people that you've seen as early adopters in the art space that you remember?
Card Killer was, one of the first people for sure.
I can't remember everybody's name, so I apologize, but you're right. Yeah, right. Go ahead, keep going, man.
And there was like a core, like maybe like not more than 20 people, it seemed like, that were pretty tight for quite a while before it really expanded. Now there's hundreds of them on Instagram. But originally it was Card Killer. Donnie B was huge in the space. He still is.
Andy Freeman.
Yeah, Andy. I started seeing kind of like a little bit further along. The Blender Zombie was another guy.
Blender, sound familiar. I'm familiar with him too.
Yeah, he's a great dude. There's a whole bunch of them, to be honest with you, but those are guys that really stand out. Another guy, Bill Cormelis, that's like a phenomenal artist just all around. He does wooden sculptures, he paints, he draws, you know. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of them, and that's just kind of like another piece of it. Is that it's not just a small group of artists out there. There's all kinds of people that are doing all kinds of different things.
We got a statement from Huey P saying the card art really threw me into the space. I feel like you guys
Nice.
represent the future of what cards will look like. I'm sorry, the card drew. I'm sorry, I think you said it right.
That drew me
Drew.
into the space.
Oh,
Yep.
that's what he said. Okay, got you. Yeah, so I mean, you guys are, and it's safe to say that art is always been a part of the space, but we probably never really we inadvertently appreciated it, and then get now. What do you think of that statement? You kind of
Yes.
I like the what if approaches, right? Like what if Jordan had a Prisms, silver, I remember that was circulating for a while now, and I thought it was a pretty good take on, with the potential of, a Prism silver could go to. And without, to me, custom cards, you would probably never be able to kind of truly look and feel, something like that, because I don't think Jordan's ever going to go over to Panini in that Prism product. But like I said, I think the innovation and, like you said, what the future of cards, because if you do the same thing over and over, it's going to kind of dull it out a lot. So it is really cool to kind of see some of the new ideas that are starting to segue themselves into what we know as the card hobby.
it's so Tom. I have a question. I know. I don't know if you answered it yet, but um, did I ask you about what motivated you? I feel like I did
Yeah.
ask you about. Did he
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that?
How it started.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What do you say to people who want to get into card art?
People that want to start doing it,
Yep.
find your own style is like my first piece, because there's just so many people that are making, to me, stuff that looks very much alike. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something I noticed really early. A lot of people are friends with each other, and that's cool. But I see, little groups start to form, and within those groups, you start to see the same work coming out of these different people, and it's just kind of like, what are we doing, guys? You
Mm.
know. So I for quite some time have tried to just stay like tunnel vision in that aspect, where I try not to pay too much attention to what everybody else is doing. You know, I can't be focused on that. I just have to stay focused on what I do and what I do best, and let everybody else do their thing.
I mean, you know something you showed me probably 2 years, maybe it was a little bit over 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly, but at least 2 years ago, you showed me one of your custom cards where you had it was like a Jordan card where you had a bunch of detail in your card where you had hidden things that represent stuff from your past and as a childhood, from your childhood. You remember that card? Am I
Yeah,
talking about the right card?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that card and the details that you put into that card was a really special card. And I think that creating special pieces like that and finding the right homes for those type of items, I think is definitely something that's needed and something that's very dope. And you create that one-on-one experience too. That's the one other thing I actually like about your cards as well. You create that one-on-one experience for your personal pieces. I mean, like this stuff, I mean, we print it for the masses, but I know you have a bunch of one-on-one pieces that are literally just one-on-one art pieces.
Yeah.
Like, would you talk to us a little bit about that and what inspires those things?
Man, it's all very nostalgia driven. Nostalgia is what it all comes back to. And to the point where I like to say that I am nostalgia. That's how I feel about it. When I sit down and make those types of cards, there's nothing forced about it. It's just me pulling from everything that I know and that I've experienced, and the things that I've enjoyed, even at times maybe things I didn't enjoy. Like I haven't used any of them yet, but I've got like cards that have Pinhead from Hellraiser, which freaked me out as a kid. But at some point, that's definitely going into a card with some villains.
Yeah.
Like I said, nostalgia. That's the secret sauce, because that's
Mm.
the thing in this hobby that I think kind of drives everything. And when you can manipulate nostalgia in certain ways, especially with art, it's gonna move people. and it might not move everybody. A lot of this I've learned has to do with patience, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, when I create something, I generally create stuff for myself. I'm not thinking about other people, and I'm not in a hurry to sell my stuff. So I don't mind waiting for that right person to come along, that like that light bulb goes off and you can like see it. And it's like it was meant for that person. They get all those different aspects to it, you know.
That's dope. Well, I was gonna say, and I'm gonna let Mark talk in a minute because I feel like I keep brushing him off. But I'm gonna
Nah,
say
you're good.
this because there's so like I'm not gonna lie to you. I get a lot of art, like because people know that I like art, right? So one of the things that people don't realize is I'm a big Star Wars fan, right? I love Star Wars, so I was going after the Star Wars Superfractor cards. I was going after like the rare Star Wars cards because I love the art that are on Star Wars Galaxy. Like it's some dope stuff. But getting into that world, I thought it was an inexpensive world, and it was really short lived because I
No,
realized that it was a really expensive world, and I ended up selling most of the stuff that I had and kind of backtracking a little bit. Like, yeah, this might not be it for right now, but I still held on to some really inexpensive pieces that I thought really looked nice, right? But when you get into the super rare stuff, which is those 101 pieces like superfractors, it gets really pricey. So but I always like those rare things, but I like to tell people, like, when you're into those art pieces and you find the right ones, I mean, shoot, man, you'll pay whatever for it. But
yeah,
go ahead, Mark. I've been
No,
talking
no.
for a
I
minute.
mean, like you said, it all kind of ties into each other, right?
Yeah.
Into the collectible space. And it doesn't take a lot of people to need or want something, right? It takes the one, as you were alluding to, Carver. And like my brother, he makes custom T-shirts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that he comes out and he'll have his limited releases and drops
You
that
did
he
this
comes
one.
out with, pretty similar to like your Bart Simpson approach, right?
Yep.
And then he'll have a Rugrat approach, right? And it's all stuff that's driven from, when we're growing up. And so I do have a special fondness in my heart to some of the stuff that you kind of created. And when I said that, I wish they were a little bigger, I have a lot of blank wall behind me, right? And
yeah,
I'd love to fill it with stuff like that because it's stuff that might not resonate with everybody, right?
Yep.
But it resonates with me. And so it's definitely something that I take to, and I'll find a way to get something on my wall that's either carver driven, maybe kid culture driven, but
Man.
definitely something cool and unique to fill the space on my wall, man. But do want to kind of give you your kudos there. The kudos, the approach that you said, people were coming up to your booth and signing them. I mean that's pretty cool too. I think that's a pretty surreal experience too. People
Yeah.
appreciating what you do.
yeah, for sure, absolutely. Every time somebody asks me for my autograph is just kind of, you know, when you look back on it, it's mind blowing. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's dope, though, man. It's much deserved too. You put a lot of hard work in, so people don't understand. Like you put lot of hard work in. I mean, I guess that's another question before we move on to the next topic is, um, how hard is it to break into the space of art, card art?
you know, for me, it wasn't really that difficult. Not everybody has the same personality that I have and the same background and the experience that I have. I've got years of promoting and working in nightclubs, whether it was handing out flyers or working VIP, um, and just working with clothing brands, designing flyers for my bands, and booking booking every show for my band and things like that back in the day. I had bring all these different tools. It's not just that I'm an artist. I have all of the stuff that I bring to the table. And this is honestly in the first time in my life been the one thing where it's kind of like all of these skills are finally clicking and it's working.
That's
So
dope.
for me, I mean, it is a lot of work. I'm not going to say it's not, but with the skills that I have, it's been easier than it would be for the average person. And from what I've experienced, the average artist isn't really the type of person that is like an extrovert and wanting to go out and having the skills to network and move through a room, regardless of what that room looks like. So
Mm,
I mean, my advice for anybody starting out, besides finding your own style, would be to go to shows because it definitely makes a difference for people to see you out there. And if you're going to go to shows, be as consistent as you can be.
mm. Well, that's great. That's definitely great advice, man. And before we get ready to move on to the next topic, I just want to shout out a couple different people too from the card art world that sent me stuff, and I'll probably open up a few. Uh, Joel, I apologize about you not getting your card carver card. So what I'm going to do is shout out to Kaboom. I'm sorry to Rookie Patch Autos J, RPA J. He actually sent me 3 packs to open up where he actually has his own little limited edition products. I'm going to open up 3 of them. I'm going to give one to Joel, and I'm going to give one to 2 of the other guys who won theirs as well. So I'm going to ship you guys this stuff out. I'm going to open it up while we're on the show too. This first one's going to Joel first, so I'll open it up. And also shout out to the other guys like Piggy Banks, Natural, Andy Freeman, and I was going to show you guys some stuff from my card art world. And also, Tom, feel free to show some your personal things real quick too. Mark, I know you don't have any.
I wasn't really prepared.
Actually, I do have one.
I
have it too.
I have this Rodman that's CGC.
Is that killer? Is that cardboard killer? Card killer?
No, this is mine.
Okay, cool. I know. I feel like I've seen similar type of work with that, but I think that's the first time I've ever seen that one. That's dope.
I gave him it's Rodman with the Dr. Octagon arms.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I like that.
But yeah, man, definitely shout out to Andy Friedman. There's so many different artists. You know,
yes, I agree.
Stacy Wall, who you might have just met in New York at the event. I mean, it goes on and on. You mentioned Natural, Marley McFly, Chuck Styles.
Correct. Yep.
Chuck Styles is maybe my favorite artist in the space. Like just as like overall, Andy Friedman I would put as like a close second.
Oh man, look at that.
That's cool. That's cool. Sorry, limited edition artwork. Yeah, that's going to Joel. So Joel, you get this Spider-Man card. I'm giving it to you. I think it's the base. This is the base card. He has different parallels too. So I'm gonna send this to you in the mail. So
hey Carver, Huey just asked a question here. He said, will PSA or BGS grade your cards also or not yet?
BGS will authenticate my autograph. They won't grade my cards. CGC will grade or authenticate.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think it's only a matter of time before they start grading and doing everything.
Yeah, for sure. And PSA, it's just a matter of time. I hope that like by the end of this year, maybe after this national, I'll have PSA authenticating my autograph because they've already done it once. I did some cards for the Registry Awards at last national in Chicago, and they slabbed them and authenticated my autograph for those. I just had my connect with them actually left the company, and I haven't gotten back in touch with them to try and get that whole process going. But it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time for so many things at this point. You know, all the manufacturing companies are watching what the card artists are doing. You can start to see it. You can see it influenced in like the newer releases.
They're gonna take your ideas, man. Stop.
Well, yeah, you can see where they're starting to use like.
Come on, man. I'm not stupid now. Let's go.
Right. I know. You can see the way they're playing with depth in a lot of the new cards. Making it look like that 3D type of effect that a lot of us, create. So.
I say Huey P asked a question. He says, "Let me ask: if you did artwork on an original card like a Flair rookie, could I get it graded altered? So, like, if you took an '86 Flair and you like customized and added your own thing to it, it's still a Jordan rookie. It's just a card carver version of it.
I mean, let's try. If you got one for me to cut up, let's do it. We'll make it happen.
Hey, I like that.
Go find a bicycle spoke one. I don't think anybody's checking out any PSA 10s anytime soon.
Man, you turn around and get Michael Jordan autograph it after that. Then now we talking. Yeah. That's a crazy card at that point.
There was something I saw, and like I said, if I'm misspeaking here, but somebody did crack an expensive card out of a case and put it on like actual canvas artwork, right? And they kind of integrated into the design. And I think it was a really expensive either LeBron or Jordan that they did that with. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, I'm not sure. But they did crack something out of I think it was a PSA or BGS holder and put it on a canvas and kind of, did their little twist with it.
I know Luke the card is painted
That's what I was thinking
It was
about.
a crazy look. It was a crazy
God.
LeBron rookie, right? That they cracked, and he painted that went viral. That had well over 1 million plays.
Hey, that actually was crazy. That was actually who I was thinking about. Luke, the card artist. That's the name I
Yeah,
was thinking about. He was in
big
Houston. He
shout to
saw me this
Luke.
past weekend. Yeah, he's a good dude. He speaks to me every time, and I apologize for not remembering your
Yeah,
name on the show.
the Croatian twins, Ivan
Yep.
Beslic,
Yep.
the B brothers in Germany. Those guys are great. Their art's phenomenal.
I agree.
Kobe collector, man. I've known
Carl,
of that guy for a long time.
Lauren Taylor. Lauren Taylor is great.
There you go. You got a fan here, Tom. What up? I'm still loving my Wimby I got from Culture Collision. Love talking to you at Card Carver. And I'm not going to lie, there were people literally hitting me up after the show. Was like, "Hey, you got any extra badges?" It was crazy. We had no extra badges.
He didn't even want to give me one of the
no extra badges
because that was VIP exclusive, man. I was a little upset.
Yeah,
man. I wanted one of all of them.
Hey, that's dope. So look, guys, we're gonna bring it to a close on card art, and we'll probably bring it back later on. But I definitely want to rush and get through these topics real quick because we love to talk. Though we love talking about card art and custom cards, there are other things in the hobby that are definitely just as important. We want to talk about special news we just found out recently this week. The Ultimate Collection Michael Jordan sale. It is the highest grossing Michael Jordan sale on record. Or do we know of anything off record?
Yeah, I don't. That's not my world, man. That's your world, Ralph.
Yeah.
Hey.
Is there something bigger?
I mean, I'm sure there's tons of sales that go on off record, but we never know.
That's a monster of a card with that patch in it.
Yeah. Well, there's big cards that sell, right? And I mean, we hear about them after the fact. I mean, what did the Luka 101 logo man do off
4.6 million. 4.6 million. I'm looking at it right now. 4.6 million.
And I think they only let that sale go public because somebody needed to claim it on their taxes.
Hey, you got to claim a loss sometimes. All right. The other biggest sale is in 1997 Upper Deck Michael Jordan All-Star Game used jersey was sold for $2.7 million.
Yeah, I remember when that card was a $2,500 card, right? And it was the first jersey card that was introduced, and that one was hand signed and hand numbered, and I think it was inserted into packs. So it was actually a really tough pull to be able to get that.
Man, so let's check this out. It seems like I guess the highest grossing, the biggest basketball sale is still Steph Curry at 5.9 million. The logo man is sold for 5.9 million. I believe that we have a card that's out there that's worth more than that.
What do you think?
It's probably the LeBron logo man, like the Jordan that just sold.
Exactly. I mean, what do you think that will sell for?
I mean, what did the Exquisite out of 23 do? I think it did like 5.2. So I think it'll probably be in that realm, right? With LeBron kind of going down. But again, that's a card you probably never see, and it'll probably never see if it ever surfaces just one time.
Yep.
But I don't know. Does it reach Mickey Mantle kind of PSA 10, 10, 20 million?
I mean, you never know when people are bidding.
Man, absolutely. It's one of those things. I mean, we just saw PSA just posted a picture most recently. I think it was yesterday that they had the Kobe Bryant logo man graded the exact same day that the Jordan was actually graded. And so now we know that the Kobe's been pulled and the Jordan's been pulled. I'm curious where the LeBron is at and if it'll ever sell publicly. And honestly, you would imagine that it's going to do, I mean, you would assume at least 10 to $15 million, you would assume. I mean, if Jordan's there and Steph Curry did $6 million.
Yeah, I don't know. In regards to the Kobe logo, man, I don't know if I'd rather have that or one of those BGS black label Topps Chrome refractors that are just
phenomenal. I'd rather have a logo, man. I think I'd rather have a logo, man.
Yeah, I like shiny stuff.
All right, so sticking with basketball, most recently, Caitlin Clark has been battling against the world, and shout out to Caitlin Clark because she just was added as Rookie of the Month for May. Yeah. How do y'all feel about that and like what she's been dealing with the WNBA?
I mean, they're dishing it out to her. They are definitely dishing it out to her and trying. They are letting her know, but she seems to be holding up pretty good.
Hey, there you go. I agree. I
I,
mean,
I don't
yeah,
like it.
Oh, I don't like it
Really,
either.
I don't like it at all. And I don't want to take away from all the other players in the league. But when you get someone who's polarizing that is able to kind of channel through different demographics and different segments of just everyday life, and are able to get these TV rights, like they're selling out games. They're CBS, Fox, ABC, all of these networks are fighting for time to air this young woman play basketball, right? And again, I like the kind of competitive kind of aspect that they're throwing in there with Angel and Caitlin. We said it before they were drafted, that was kind of the matchup that we were going to be looking out for. But it's almost like it's the WNBA against Caitlin Clark, right? And it's almost like they want to show her that she's the new kid on the block. And I get that aspect, and I get the whole welcome to the league approach. But at some point, do you really want that person to get injured and go down and miss time, right? And then what happens to all that TV money that's being generated, right? What happens to the WNBA after that? If, say, she tears a ACL or twists something in her knee, right? Because she's hurt, and then one of the reasons why the NBA contracts they get so much money is because all the sponsorship and all the marketing dollars that are spent on the league,
yeah,
and she's bringing that for the WNBA. So all that's going to do is increase salaries across the league because of what she's bringing to the table. And I get it, right? Maybe she's not the best player that's ever played women professional basketball, right? We've had, again, I've told you before, we've had some great professional teams here in Houston when they won the first four championships, right? When they introduced the WNBA. So, shout out, Cooper, shout out Swoops. We had some great ones that came through. But, right, in the age that we have, right, the social media age right now, she's garnered a lot of attention and she's bringing a ton of money to the league. And I think that they should kind of respect that. Not necessarily let her, like, just dribble up and do layups
you
all
want to let
game,
her drop 40?
right?
You want to let her
But
drop 40 every night?
yeah, at the same time, man, but just don't beat her up as bad, man. Like, they're setting some kind of crazy picks. I think I saw something. I don't mean to steal the show here, man, but I'm a little
You're
passionate about
good.
it. But I think Draymond said, man, if I did that same thing, I'd be thrown out the league, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of tough to see it at times.
It feels
Yeah,
very like 90s NBA basketball, like New York Knicks. I feel like it's something that we kind of haven't seen in, like modern sports in recent years, and kind of like any sport that I can think of where one player has been targeted like this, especially coming like right into the league as a rookie. It feels very like 80s, even, 80s,
man.
90s, that style of basketball.
Yeah, I would say I feel like it's a bunch of Michael Jordans and Scottie Pippens out there talking about Tony Kukoc in the Olympics. Yeah, go
Yeah,
get go get her. She's not gonna
right.
be that
Yeah,
good. And
yeah.
but I think see somebody see Bagels and Wax actually brought up a really good point. He literally says a lot of these guys are really not they're kind of looking at the short-sighted approach and not looking at the bigger picture. She's definitely I will say this. Um Angel Reese said something, made a statement, and I'm actually going to address it. I think Michael Ham Fishing said something about it. Bunch of jealous girls who are bringing race into it. I like creating a Caitlyn versus Reese, but it's all over. They need her as a pioneer. I understand and respect what you're saying, but I don't think it's more so of a race situation, more so than just people probably feel like they're just as good as her. And I think that can be fine. But I think you put it, if you lay it on the basketball court and you let her do her thing and then you show you can do your thing because now you're on TV and you weren't before, I think that's better. And I think that's the short-sightedness of it. But I will say that I believe that I do agree with Angel Reese and what she said, that we're watching more than just Caitlin Clark out there, because I'm not going to lie. I watch Angel. I'm from Chicago, so I've actually paid attention to the Sky this year. I've never watched the Sky game until this past weekend when I watched Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark this past weekend. And to me, that was intriguing. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I even thought about buying tickets to the game when they come to Atlanta. And so these guys, I'm gonna say it's a group of women. Not Caitlin Clark is in the forefront, and there's a group of women, because you have to say Angel Reese, because here's the thing. Angel Reese has 18 million followers. She has more than 90% of the WNBA. So she, to me, is just as relevant as a Caitlin Clark. And that's not putting race to that's not has nothing to do with race. It's just, what she had a viral moment 3 years ago when she won the national championship versus Caitlin Clark. And with the whole face thing, that was the highlight for 6 months. And Angel Reese blew up. And so because of that, I feel like it has nothing to do with race. It's just about, okay, that to me, that situation between Reese and Caitlin going into the WNBA, I love playing that situation going forward. I love to see them play for a championship in the future and seeing, playing a best out of 5 or 7 games. I think that'll be amazing to see, and I'll probably watch it or maybe even go to it. So
I like the WNBA version, right? Their iteration of the Magic Bird, right?
Yeah.
Of the 80s, right? And that's kind of what I think about when I think of those two. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not watching WNBA, right? But I hardly watch NBA this year too, right? So I'm not gonna go out there and just say, I'm not gonna watch WNBA. I watch Caitlin Clark stats like I watch any other NBA player stats, right? And because I'm in a hobby and I'm in the space where this is my career, right? And it's coming more from a profitability standpoint, I need Caitlin Clark, right, to do good because that means that her cards are going to sell better, right?
That's correct.
I need Angel Reese to do good. That means her cards are going to sell better. Like we did see when Prizm was first introduced from WNBA, we were seeing some of those cards start to garner some attention, and you saw some of those prices for some of the golds and some of the black 101s, and it was cool to see, right? But I am curious to see once they release this set with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark what those first Prizm cards are going to do, and I'm more watching it on the outside looking in and looking stat watching because of that.
I mean, we're looking at Sabrina. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, she's a great player that I think we're watching right now. So the WNBA right now is really interesting to me because I look at it like the basket NBA was in, I ain't gonna say the 90s, but maybe the early 80s when it wasn't really as big as baseball at the time, and then pivoted over. So maybe within the next 10 years, we'll probably see something where we'll think back in history where, remember when Caitlin Clark was having a hard time, and then now she's the Jordan of the league, the female Jordan of the league, and at the forefront. And then hopefully we see Angel Reese out there doing her thing, and then we'll see other women out there doing their thing. And then we'll go back and think, oh man, remember Cheryl Swoops? Remember Rebecca Lobo? Remember those girls?
Lisa Leslie,
are they the Wilt Chamberlains and the Julius Irvins of WNBA back then? I mean, and we'll see what the future holds. I mean, I remember, what's her name, Brittany Griner. I thought she was going to be the next Shaq when she was dunking. I was just like, okay, women are dunking now. I'm ready to watch it now. I'm ready to watch it. But it's definitely an interesting take. We definitely have a couple more topics we definitely want to talk about. Do you guys we're going to close this now? You want to say anything else, guys? Caitlin Clark.
I was just going to say that they're definitely setting up a really interesting storyline moving ahead for years to come with them. Everybody, ganging up on her kind of like this. It's just going to end up being the headlines moving forward.
Got you.
Reese versus Clark.
Yep. So, all right. So I'm gonna read what Michael said again. He said, "I believe the racing is coming from others. I really like Reese as well. The people in the league seem to be out for Caitlin, but that's also bringing it to the top. This is a rivalry. I agree.
Yeah, and I think because there's a lot of eyes on it, right? A lot of people don't want to see people getting bullied out there, right? And I think that if it wasn't getting the eyes and attention that it's garnering right now, like if it was last season, like nobody was talking about a player getting bullied and beat up, right?
Nope.
I'm pretty sure there was guys, gals, right, getting beat up, and bullied and pushed around last year, and we're not even talking about it. But now because we have, like you said, this polarizing individual who's garnering all this attention, it's at the forefront.
Yeah, so shout out to Caitlin Clark and the WNBA for holding it down. I mean, overall, it's definitely dope to see their growth and what they've done. And I think they've grown in the last 2-3 years, in my opinion. I mean, the Aces won back-to-back championships. Sabrina Iescu or whatever her name is. I probably killed it, but
Obviously, there's some marketing
yeah,
campaigning going on. I
yeah,
mean, she competed against Steph Curry in the 3-point contest,
that's
right?
correct.
So that was
Definitely
pretty cool.
correct. Yep. I actually really thought that was a great idea. So I think they should do more of that, especially at All-Star weekend. They should maybe do something combining with the WNBA to bring more attention to WNBA players, because some of those players are probably just as good. I'm going to say probably. They're probably, I hate saying it, probably, they're just as good as players in the NBA. And that's, I hate kind of saying it that way, because I'm sure I'm going to probably get a lot of people that's going to say something different, but whatever.
Relax, man. It's like when they say that those
like,
college teams,
sure?
right? Those Alabamas are
Just
going
as
to beat the
good?
worst. They're going to
Yeah.
beat the worst NFL team, man. Relax. It's not going to happen, man.
All right, so next topic is, and we're going to get beat up for this, I'm sure, NBA Finals predictions. Everybody thought we were psychic. Everybody thought that we had it all. We had all the answers. We did not have all the answers. But I was close, though. I was close.
Man, that's like picking all 8 teams, and just because one of them hit, right? You're right.
I'm right.
But I will say, man, I'll eat the duck, man. I'll eat the pigeon. I'll eat the crow. I'll eat whatever the hell you want me to eat. I was wrong, right? For picking the Timberwolves to go to the finals, right?
Yep.
I think a lot of that was egged on because I had a lot of money invested into Anthony Edwards, right?
Yep.
I bought into the hype, and so I wanted those guys to win. But I will say this, right? After seeing what they did to Denver, right, and seeing them hold Denver under 100 points multiple times in that series, and the way that they were able to lock down and clamp down on those players, I thought that they had a chance, right?
Yeah.
We went into the Western Conference Finals thinking that they were going to sweep Dallas, right? But I guess Dallas they took notes, right? They have probably the newspaper clippings, and they have the YouTube and the commentators snippets that said they didn't have a chance. Kyrie Irving came to play. Luka came to play, and I think that was the difference, right, between the two series. Is that outside of Jamal Murray, they didn't have another guard to really push Anthony Edwards the way that Dallas did, right? And because those first 2, 3, 4 games, Anthony Edwards looked drained, right? Because he went out there and he took it upon himself to say, I'm going to guard Kyrie Irving. And boy, that was a mistake because
I respect it though.
I'm not saying that, it's not, commendable or respectable. What I'm saying is sometimes you bite off a little more than you can chew,
Of
right?
course.
And as you saw, they made Anthony Edwards work on both ends, right? Luka didn't have to work on both ends. Who was pushing Luka on the defensive end to tire him out in the fourth quarter?
Nobody.
They were passing the baton on who was going to take the reins, and by the time the fourth quarter came around, they were energized, right?
I said that.
And you saw Anthony Edwards, he couldn't do much. He was gassed. I mean, you see him go stand in the corner and say, "Hey, man, y'all take this play, man. I'm gonna take a couple plays off, man," and because he was exhausted, right?
So who's gonna win?
Oh.
Who's gonna win?
This is what I think.
No,
right?
Man, we need to book it. Don't give me the extra stuff.
No. I got an answer for you.
My guy right here. They're probably gonna extend it an extra 5 minutes. Who's gonna win?
Boston.
How many games?
6.
Boston is 6. Book it. There we go.
But this is why though.
See, I always hear all that. All right,
Tom, man, I just got to get why, man.
Go ahead.
I think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to take offense to all this talk about Luka and Kyrie being the greatest backcourt tandem that the league has ever seen, right? I think they're going to take offense to that. I think they're going to say, hey, don't forget that we were the number 1 seed in the whole entire NBA, and they're going to come out to play because I can tell you this, Boston has looked really lethargic, man. There were some games that they shouldn't have lost, right? And they look really human. I think they were more playing down to their competition. So hopefully we see this Boston team, this resurgence, and it's be interesting. Is Porzingis going to play?
Yeah, he's playing.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that adds another wrinkle kind of to the equation as well. So Boston in 6.
I think that's fair. I think the Boston's going to win also. I want to see Luka get one, though. I'd rather see the Mavs win, but I think that the Celtics just have too many weapons.
I can see that. I can see that.
Here comes the Dallas pick. Skip it. Clip it.
Look. I'm gonna say, dang man, I'm gonna go against both of y'all just because. I'm gonna say,
don't
I'm
do
gonna
that.
say,
Don't
I'm
do
gonna
that.
say Mavericks in 7. Mavericks in 7. Kyrie's revenge tour.
I think you're right on 7 games too. I'll be shocked if it doesn't go 7.
Kyrie revenge tour coming soon. We didn't see Kyrie at his best in Boston, but we're going to see Kyrie in his best in his playoffs. This is Kyrie's moment, and honestly, Kyrie's going to carry Luka to this championship. That's all I'm going to say. You can book that.
Can't lie, man.
Bro,
looks better than he's ever looked.
This is his moment to revamp his career in the collectible space and in the NBA. This is his moment. He carries Luka to this title by beating the team that he left. And I think, honestly, bro, here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to what you kind of talked about with Ant-Man sticking him. We saw a 22-year-old, young, rejuvenated kid who we compare to Michael Jordan defend a 32-year-old man. You know what I mean? And Kyrie looked like there was not a bad shot that he took the entire game. Every shot that he took, I was thinking, like, he's not going to make that. He makes it. Man, that guy is I think we don't give him enough credit. But if he carries Luka to this championship in 7, I think we will go back and kind of rethink this whole situation with Kyrie and what he's done, because he's probably been averaging 20-something points a game for the last decade. And I think that with this will be championship number 3. I think we start looking at him a little differently than what we have been in the past, because it's not like he's being carried. He's been performing at a high level.
Isn't it 2? I think he only won 1 with LeBron.
I thought he won. Maybe I thought he was. Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're right. You're right. I apologize.
Clip it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you said it. You were right. I like it.
I was wrong, but I do like Kyrie carrying Luka and that team being good. Bro, look, the Mavericks is. I will say this:
you can't average 30 points for the entire series and a triple-double and say that you're being carried. That's what Luka did.
I'm not sitting here saying that I'm not. But here's the thing, though: if Kyrie is not on this team, though, he would have lost in the second round.
Yeah, honestly, they're gelling. They're coming together at the right time. I think those two had a conversation, right? That said, "Hey, look, either we're gonna go down in flames, or we're going to pass the baton back and forth."
David says, way too much hype on the Mavs. Celtics 76-20, Celtics in 7. I see. You know what? I would be really gung-ho about Boston if Tatum was consistent. He's not consistent. I feel like at some point in time, it's Jaylen Brown's team, and I like Jaylen Brown more than I like Jason Tatum. And if Jason Tatum was actually consistent, like, I would like that team a lot more. I think Porzingis definitely helps that team a whole lot in the finals, but we don't know what Porzingis we're going to get. I mean, is he going to be flat? Is he going to be a run up and down the court? Like, he's not NBA ready. Like, that's the thing. He's not battle tested. He's not NBA ready. He's going straight into the fire, and I don't know if he's going to be enough.
But he's like a 3rd or 4th option. So how much ready do you want him to be?
Well, I mean, he was brought on his team to be number 3. And
he can be 3A.
But I will say 3B. This. I will say Boston definitely has a better bench. So that's my little 2 cents about the NBA Finals prediction.
You're switching your pick already, man? Did I talk you out of your pick?
No, I'm sticking with Mavericks in 7. Tom's got he's got Boston in 7, and you have Boston in 6. All right, y'all can clip it. We locked in. Clip it.
Oh, Michael Ham. He says, "Who is the face of the NBA?" I think there's a lot of torch passing back and forth and around the room right now. I do like Ant as the face of the league for 10, 15 years to come, hopefully, if he stays healthy. But other guys like Ja Morant, who I like his game.
Love Ja.
Just his attitude. Now he needs to stay out of trouble, right? But aside from that, I think that we have some very, very talented young men that are going to start coming into their prime.
I agree.
And creating some interesting dynamics some interesting rivalries. Is what I'm really excited to see.
I mean,
Adidas is killing the marketing for Anthony Edwards right now.
oh, absolutely.
That campaign and the shoes that they're doing for him is way better than anything else that
I
any of
agree.
these other guys have going on. And if they can continue to do that and he continue to grow as a player, it's going to no doubt be him.
Yeah,
Hey, if you go
I
back and
agree,
watch
but I
that
do like
Michael
Ja
Jordan,
though. Ja's
if
there
you
too.
go
Go ahead.
if you go back and watch the Michael Jordan movie, right? And I don't know if y'all guys have watched it yet. Adidas was on top, right?
Yeah.
Converse was on top, right? And then Nike with Jordan came in and they took over kind of that whole landscape, and the rest is history, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, an Adidas come back into the fold, right? And to see where they take it. Now, one of the commercials was that him like reading off of all the naysayers,
Yep.
and was that one of the campaigns,
Yeah.
or was that a video or some other thing?
They clipped it. They clipped it. Every negative comment, all this
It
other
was
stuff like
receipts,
that.
right? That was
Yep,
the
keep it in
campaign.
receipts.
I
Yeah,
keep all the
love it.
receipts.
Love it.
Cameron, did you see Cameron responded?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was crazy. And then I think they said I saw a video saying that Ant-Man can rap too, so he might send a battle rap back.
Yeah, he
We'll
has a
see what
video
happens.
when he was at Georgia.
Right. All right. So next I guess one of our last. Well, we got two more topics. Mainly, this is our next one. We're gonna try to make this short and sweet. I hate making it short and sweet. We're probably gonna end up elaborating on it a little bit more. It's kind of a negative situation, but I definitely think we need to address it. It's mail days. I'm not sure. Imagine coming home. You got a card coming in. You have a card in the mail. You go pick up the box. You open the box. You're missing the cards and inside. How do you guys feel about that? I know, Mark, I know you resonate with it really strongly because it most recently happened to you.
I'm gonna let Carver go first, or else he ain't gonna be able to talk for a little bit, man.
I don't. You're saying you go to the mailbox and the cards just aren't there?
They're
It's
not.
missing. It's
It's
cut
been
open.
missing.
Yeah. Stolen.
I mean, I would be friggin'. Who wouldn't be completely pissed off about it? I mean, you're going to be infuriated. Also, you're going to feel. I mean, there's also a level of like a violation there. You know, like that. Although it's a small space, that mailbox is yours. That's your property, and to have someone, go in and open that up and decide to take what's yours, and also likely something that you were very much looking forward to receive, and very well maybe something like truly special to you. I mean, that's a hard blow to take, for sure. It's way worse than I feel like then the mail just kind of got lost somewhere along the way in the tracking somewhere in friggin' Philadelphia or Indiana, somewhere along the way, to know that it made it as far as the mailbox and some jerk went in there and made off with it. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
So just to shed some light, right? Why I thought this was important, man. So a couple weeks ago, I mailed an Anthony Edwards Blue Shimmer rookie auto out of 20 to PSA to be graded. And I don't know how many of you guys personally grade your card or go through a dealer such as myself to grade your cards. But I've been mailing cards to PSA for about 8 years now and never had any issues whatsoever. And so I mailed a card to them. It was delivered, a couple Saturdays ago. I checked the tracking, everything checked in. And then a few days later, it hasn't checked in to PSA, which is really, really weird, right? They usually check it in within 1, 2, 3 days of it hitting their P.O. box. And it didn't check. So I went back, I checked the tracking, and it said refuse mail. And so I immediately contacted PSA. The box the very next day came in and it had marked contents empty, and it was an empty box that came back to me, right? So bye $7,000 Anthony Edwards, right? That was really clean. I was hoping that it was going to get a gem. And the neat thing that I found out, right? Hindsight's always 2020. I didn't have insurance on the package. I don't believe in insurance because it actually puts targets on articles of mail, in my opinion. Anytime you put a big, hey, look at me, this package is worth a lot of money. I think somebody in the comments on Instagram before it went down talked about um, people know that work in that area in California now what PSA is, what this collectible space is.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing it on CNN now. We're seeing it with Golden on Netflix. So the collectible is more in everyone's face than it ever has been before. And like he said, people that work probably in that area for the mail postal service know what that address is and what's going there or what could potentially be in the package. So I reached out to PSA, like I said. And the neat thing with them is that because there's been such an uptick in mail theft and mail fraud, anything that's tampered with PSA, they immediately take a video and a picture of them receiving the item, and they immediately reject it if it looks like it's tampered. And again, they sent
Mm-hmm.
me all this
Right.
information in an email, so I have it.
Yeah.
Whenever I filed my claim with the Postal Service and the postal inspector, that information was vital, in that, for them to do their investigation, which they're conducting right now. Shout out to them because they do take matters like this very seriously. I've already been reached out by several members of the investigative team, and then I did file a police report as well. And what they're seeing too is the hobby is, the collectible space is becoming more, noticeable. It's more mainstream now. So all that's been done. The other thing that I really wanted to hit home on is just the hobby in general, right? I've never had so many people reach out to me and say, hey, man, I'm sorry that this happened. Repost it. Sorry that this happened. Repost it, man. And so kudos to everyone who did that. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I got a phone call from a buddy of mine in Idaho. He doesn't have Instagram. He doesn't have Facebook. He's not on any social media, but he called me and he was like, hey, I heard about your card, right? We were at a card show in Conroe this past week, and I had 10, 15 people come up to me, man. I'm sorry that that happened, man. I'm sorry that that happened. I'll keep an eye out for it, man. So it's really, really like reassuring of what this space is, right? It's obviously something that hits us close to home, right? Regardless of you're collecting tops, pins, right? Your Pokemon, sports cards, memorabilia. Like we are in this space because it means something to us, right? And it was really encouraging to see because I'm be honest with you, man, I was down, right? I talked to Ralph over the weekend. He was there with me in Conroe, and I say, dude, I almost didn't do this show. Right. I was like literally depressed. And I mean, obviously I do this for a living. And so anything, right. Whether it's, a piece of merchandise falls off the back of your truck, right. When you're hauling something, whatever business you have, $7,000 hit hurts. Right. And if this is what you're depending on to provide for your family, man, I'm glad I had a very supportive wife. She didn't chop my head off for sending something in the mail without insurance. But from there, right, I've had people reach out to me. They've introduced me to collectible insurance that safeguard it more than
Exactly.
shipping cards with insurance. And it's $500 a year, and it covers you for like $200,000, right? And it's not only shipping stuff in the mail; it covers you from fire, flood, right, natural disasters. And so it's really really fortunate that through this, right. I'm always a person. I think we talked about it in last show or the time before that. Life's about making mistakes, right? And learning from them. And I can honestly say that this was a mistake, right? For sending something in the mail uninsured and not even overnight, right? That was that valuable. And now hopefully I'm safeguarded for it in the future, man. So really long-winded there, man. And I told you, Carver, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go before you're not gonna get a word in, man. But it was something that I wanted to talk about today because it really hit home. And
Yeah.
just the overwhelming amount of support that I received, man, it was really amazing. And even the information about collectibles and insurance that was sent over to me, kudos for that too, because it's going to be a life changer.
I need that info.
Yeah.
Like, look back here. This is my great uncle played Major League Baseball. This is his 1957
Oh wow, that's really cool.
game worn jersey. The Red Sox. There's a bunch of. I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and it's relatively affordable, man. And through that, I know now that as long as I would have shipped that item with a signature confirmation on it, right? They would have reimbursed me for the entire value of that card.
Yep. So that's definitely great information to talk about. I actually wanted to talk about this for the well. So I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. So, and I think this is why it's a great topic for us to talk about as well. Sorry, Tom, you have a few for us to continue talking about this, or you got to go?
I gotta get going.
Okay,
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you,
Of
Carver.
course.
Hopefully you learned something today. Reach out to me. I'll drop you that link. Just DM me, and I'll send you that link.
Appreciate it.
Also, to anyone else who needs that information, as you have already, reach out to me, and I'll give you that information that I obtained through this.
Mm-hmm. Also, tell everybody your handles too. Make sure they can follow you at.
It's the Card Carver on everything, and you'll find me at the next Culture Collision. You'll see me at the National in Cleveland.
We got new art coming.
Yep. Bunch of new art coming. I'll be in the VIP room with Ludex in Cleveland, and I'm sure that you'll see Prizm God in there too.
We'll be there. No, man. Well, I appreciate you joining the channel. Me and Mark are going to go and continue with the conversation, talk about some other things. Appreciate you guys chiming in. We're going to probably give it another 10 to 15 minutes more. But I think it's very important for us to talk about the mail day topics, and then hit it with our final thoughts and answer questions. So appreciate you, Tom. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Later, guys.
Peace. All right. So look. So again, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Thank Tom for being able to be on the show today. Anybody? Yay. No claps. But so check this out. So I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Imagine something like that happening to you where you lost a card and in 10 years from now, your card pops up. How do you feel about that card now, 10 years later, even after you haven't been made whole and somebody buys your card and now you see it out in the wild? How do you feel about that? You can tell the truth.
I want my card back, man. Right? I want it back. Right? But that's my on it. Like if it was done in the manner that it happened to me, right? Like I'm sitting here and I'm gonna frame that box that it came back in, but I'm sitting here with the visibly tampered box, right? You can see where they cut open, right, the box and took the contents out, right? So because of all that information that I have, okay, I think the scenario that you are alluding to is a little different, right?
It is
because remember when you personally, right, had the 97 Topps Chrome Kobe Bryant
PSA 9
in the mail.
It's not the only thing.
And what you're dealing with that. So I mean, you're on both sides, right? And that one was lost, right? So imagine being lost and being stolen. And I think that's two different things.
Well, I agree that is two different things, but I will say this:
I still want my card back.
I understand that logic, right? So, I've lost a few different cards.
Yeah,
some really nice cards. I've never said anything to anybody about these cards. I've never posted up, said, "Hey guys, I'm looking for this." I shipped some cards to Lewis to clean some cards for me. You know what those cards were? The Halan Topps Finest Gold number to 50, a purple number to 250, a red number to I think 99 or whatever. Topps Finest Rookies, right? Those are big cards. A PSA 10 of a gold might be $7,000 to $10,000.
Yeah,
right. I shipped these things. They didn't get there. Whatever. Me and Lewis, we came up with an agreement. End of story. We're still looking for those cards because Lewis is like, "Hey, I'm still looking for them cards now." I lost a PSA 9 Topps Chrome Kobe. That was a crazy situation because the guy the guy gave me a box of cards and some cash, and then when he never got the card, he's like, "Hey man, where's my card at?" And I ended up having to pay him cash for something that I had to trade. I traded to, but I opened up the box. So at that point, I just had to pay full price for it. But that was okay, whatever. I never got that card. I had another situation where I shipped someone. I was doing breaks on Instagram and I shipped someone some product. They never received it. What's crazy about that is I shipped the best cards to sell for the guy, and the other stuff never made it to him, and he ended up doing an insurance claim on everything, which was another scenario, which was a frustrating situation, but never really made the stuff publicly. Whatever, we deal with those things, right? I think the part of this conversation is how do we handle certain situations and do better at preventing these things from happening. Maybe the grading companies definitely need to come up with PO boxes or do a different type of scenario that's more secure. Maybe the post office and FedEx and UPS has to do better at protecting us, right? And protecting our goods, because you're not really tripping. If it's a card that's irreplaceable, you're not really tripping about the money. You're more so like, well, I want my card back. I can't replace it, right? So I bought a Noble Nameplates Michael Jordan card from a show in North Carolina, and it was reported lost or stolen in the mail. I got blackballed, like literally, bang, man. I hate Prizm God, Prizm fraud. It's all that stuff. You don't know nothing. Like, people don't understand. Like, I do a lot of business at shows, and we're talking about 5-6 years of work, and I don't remember, Mark, you know how I am. I don't remember half the people I engage with, and that's no disrespect to anybody, but I meet a lot of people. So if I buy a car from someone, a lot of us don't keep receipts in this space. We don't keep receipts unless we're paying through PayPal or whatever. And a lot of times, a lot of big deals happen in cash. A lot of times you don't think the negative when you purchase something. So I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to that situation. But I just really didn't like how everything was handled. Yeah. I didn't really like being handled the way that I felt like I ain't gonna say it was cancel culture. Let's say it's, I don't know, the mob. I'm gonna say the mob. Because the mob was coming for me, man.
It's the fraud mob. It was the fraud mob.
Hey, the mob was coming for me like I was the one that sat here and I took something. The car was lost in the mail, lost or stolen in the mail, whatever you want to call it. It never got to the destination. And 10 years later, it pops up at a show in North Carolina. And I do a lot of shows. I mean, so it's very impossible for me to remember every single person I interact with. And so for that, I'm sorry. Right. But the reality is me and the person settled because, hey, he wanted to be made whole. And guess what? As soon as I found out about it, I reached out to the guy and I said, hey, look, sorry it happened to you, but what can we do? I paid X amount of money for this card. Like, how you think I feel? You think I just want to give it up and just take a $40,000, $50,000 loss? And I think that's the other aspect of it too, Mark, is, I mean, do you feel bad at all for the guy who bought your card for 10 years from now? What is it, Anthony Edwards? If Anthony Edwards is Jordan 10 years from now, what is that card worth now? And 10 years from now, is it worth $20,000?
Well, part of the process that I went through,
yeah.
Right? I already did a whole bunch of scenarios in my head. If the card never shows up, if the card was indeed just ripped out of the box and it's gone, right? It's shredded, it's gone forever. But part of my process, right, was to give my own self some peace of mind, because I truly just want to know what happened, right? I want to know, like, at what point did the contents go missing out of the box? And I think through the postal investigation, right, they're going to be able to uncover, right, through video and, surveillance and, whatnot, and figure out at what point did that card go missing? All right. When did that box get retaped, right, and get that stamp on it that the contents were missing, right? And so because it looks like it was visibly theft, right? They already got it logged in the database for stolen goods, right? So whenever it pops back up, obviously the person who ends up with it, right, whether it's third party or fourth party or however happens, right, I would like to have that conversation and say, hey, let's get the card back, right?
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand all those things you're saying, and I think my question to you is, how do you feel about the person in the future who finds your card? Because that card's probably going to pop up.
But see, but because I know a lot more details about your situation, right?
Yeah.
So for you guys that have no experience with items that are lost in the mail, um, unbelievably so, right? There are millions upon millions of articles that go missing in the
Yes,
mail
that's correct.
every year.
That's
Okay,
correct.
and
Where does it
so
go?
they go to a warehouse, right, where
And they
all
go
these
on
goods
auction.
are, and people make a good living buying, right, stuff at these auctions that the postal service holds, right, that auctions off all these lost misplaced items of mail, right, that they have piled up, right. And in this instance, this card, right, was purchased legally, right, at one of these auctions, right, and then sold, right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect of it, it kind of takes them off of the hook, right? And if the postal service comes back and says indeed that this card was lost, right? It was lost.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot different about the situation, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to the guy who's trying to sell the card at a card show, right? Or trying to sell it on eBay is the guy that they find in fact stole the card, right? So I feel a lot different about the different situations on how it comes to light, right? If the
Mm-hmm.
person sees on online that says, "Hey, I saw that you have my card," right? And we have a conversation about it on how we can fix it. I think you go about it a little different, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's no cookie cutter approach to how this situation should be handled. It's a very upsetting and frustrating
Definitely. I agree.
ordeal for both sides, right? Because we're
I
not
agree.
talking about $200 cards, right? We're talking about $1,000 cards,
I
right?
agree. Mm-hmm.
And for some people, I mean, we talk about, staying in your lane and operating within your means, right? Some of these cards might be outside of people's means, right? Regardless of
That's
what kind of
correct.
budget that you have, right? And so, yeah, I think there's a different way to handle each situation. I think because I know a little bit more about your situation, it's a little bit um, to the extreme, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for him, right, and I'm not going to say his name, but for the party that card belonged to, I think for them, I think they're well within the right to have a conversation about it, right,
Of
and then come to
course.
an agreement, which I think that you guys did, and then someone else kind of stirred the pot that didn't have anything to
Yeah.
gain other than
Absolutely.
probably uh, money, right, because he was a bounty hunter. Um, but again, it's unfortunate, but it's behind you, right? And I will
Of
reiterate,
course.
the card was not stolen, right? It was lost in the mail, and
Yeah.
you obtained it legally, right?
Yeah. I
And
agree.
then you did everything in your power to make it right. And kudos to
Absolutely.
you for doing that, because at the end of the day, you didn't really have to do it. But
Yeah.
kudos.
And I think that's the part that a lot of people don't necessarily understand. I mean, doing I think, I think a part of the conversation I really wanted to have was how to protect ourselves and how do we handle certain situations. I mean, my rule of thumb, being honest with you though, Mark, is anything over $1,000 I overnight. It's
Yeah.
just that's my rule of thumb. Anything, because to me it doesn't sit in a warehouse for a long period of time, right? If you ship something on Friday and it has to be overnighted, I pay for Saturday delivery because I need it to be there the next day. If it's something that's like under 1,000, whatever. I shipped the car today, $500. Okay, I'm not putting no insurance on that. I'm not finna overnight that. He'll get it in a couple of days. That's fine. Somebody takes it, it's $150. I can eat $350, whatever. But if it's something that's 1,000, or in your case 7,000, or if it's a $50,000 card or $100,000 card, man, honestly, on $100,000 card, I might even fly out.
No, that
Like
thing ain't going in the mail, bro.
that thing ain't putting no. I mean, for the people out, I'm sure there's plenty of people who ship overnight cards that are $500,000, but that ain't me. I'm definitely gonna fly. I'm gonna do every precaution I can. Also, I'm actually looking at a company named Collectibles Insurance Services, and I ain't
Yep.
gonna lie to you. Maybe we should bring them on to the show soon and
Yeah.
have a more detailed conversation about the collectible space and how to protect our collections. Because here's the thing, we travel to shows and I've lost cards, and I felt like, remember those times I felt like I lost the card,
Yep.
and then I go back to my room and I find it on the ground or whatever, or we drop it or we left it in our book bag or wherever we leave it. So I think that it's a good conversation to have with how do we protect ourselves? What best habits work for each and every one of us? So
Hell, we were at Conroe at the trade night, right, on
yeah,
Saturday, and 4 cards were stolen at the trade night, right? So even then, right, you could potentially protect yourself in that situation as well.
absolutely, absolutely,
With collectibles insurance, man. And honestly, man, it's a sucky situation all the way around. As Carver kind of mentioned, I felt violated. I felt I
yep,
was depressed, man. I really was, man. Just and there was a reason why I didn't overnight it, right? And I know that you said anything over 1,000, you overnight.
yep,
Again, I've submitted a ton of stuff to PSA, and what I've known is maybe with the new address where they're shipping all their product to, maybe they process it a little quicker. But I've actually sent more stuff to the PO box, and it was processed timely, right, within a day, 24 hours after receipt. And I've overnighted stuff to them directly to them at PSA, and they've waited a whole week to check it in. Hell,
wow,
we even saw when we submitted the SPX LeBron, right, that we submitted in Dallas, that they took with them from Dallas. They didn't check that whole thing in for a whole week,
yeah,
right?
that's crazy.
So again, you try to get these nuances, these little tips of the trade whenever you're mailing items in, to kind of speed up the process as much as possible.
Yeah.
But again,
I don't even put Prizm God sports cards most of the time. Most of the time it's just a regular name. I usually try not to use. There's just some tips that I recommend to people. Don't put collectibles. Don't put like I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's a trigger to put insurance on your card on your
and that's
package.
what I told. That's the
I
reason why
literally
I
think
did
it's
it.
a trigger to put because literally if you put I feel like if you say insurance $50,000, what's $50,000 in this little small box?
Yeah.
To me that's to me that's one of those triggers to say, well, what's in there? Not saying I would do that, but I think that for the people that not saying the post office, but maybe post office workers, maybe people who are around the post office workers, whatever. We don't know how stuff gets stolen, but that's another conversation for another day. But I was going to say this. I did a quick quote with Collectibles Insurance Services for a 500,000 like worth like 500 a $500,000 worth of collectibles, and it's only $1,544 for a year.
Yeah, and then you can split it up into multiple payments, so you don't have to
And
pay the full chunk at once.
yeah, and so there's some value here. You can travel with your collectibles, you can leave it at home, you can sell it, you can ship it. Sappy actually, another thing is Sappy Sports Card. I mean, it's not in a negative way, so I'm gonna say Sappy Sports Cards because actually what he did was very commendable, and that was actually I gave him a card to grade. It was a LeBron James True Gem Plus. I was trying to cross over to a PSA 10. It got lost at PSA, very similar to yours. Well, no, I think his actually got stolen at PSA. And I hate that's a different conversation too. And I want to talk negative about PSA, but something it was missing when it got to PSA. I called Sappy about it. It was like 6 months after I had sent the card. I'm like, man, I should get this card back by now. Where's this card? I paid like $5,000 for this card. And so I told him about the card, and he said, "Oh man, my bad, bro." And he ended up paying me because he said, "Hey, I got insurance. I'm actually about to claim that whole thing anyway. I'm just going to send you the money." And that's good people like Sappy and good people like that in the space who have the right insurance, who've actually already thought about these things and highlighted ways to become better in this space. I definitely agree. Agreeing with Call the Buyer, it is definitely worth it. But I think you guys just look into it as a way to protect ourselves. But as we grow as a community and as we start seeing sales like the Jordan sale for $3 million, guess what's going to happen? That publication of $3 million was just listed on 12 different major platforms: CNN, C-SPAN, ESPN, and all over social media. How long do you think it's going to take before people actually start paying attention to what's going on in our space? Which is a good thing on one aspect of it, but you got to take the good with the bad, and negativity comes with the good, right? And so we got to grow from that and figure out ways to become better to protect ourselves.
Yeah, that insurance doesn't only apply to trading cards, though. It
No, it
applies
doesn't.
to it
I saw
applies to
that.
shoes. It applies to memorabilia. It applies
Yep.
to a whole multitude of collectibles.
Yeah.
And like I said, through this, right, through this bad, right, thing that happened, there's growth, right, and we talk about it all the time, man. It's you live and learn, and you learn and live. And again, through this, we will prosper, man. We will grow from this. We will be
Absolutely.
better because of it. And just I won't make the same mistake twice.
Hey, absolutely. All right. So our final thoughts before we get off this show. Did you want to say anything else about Mail Day, Mark? I know this was initially your topic that I chimed in to kind of talk about some of the things I was dealing with
No,
as
and I
well.
appreciate you for talking about it because it was definitely something that needed to be talked about. I mean, at least you kind of get a little bit of that angst off your chest. And
Yeah,
I am happy that it is settled and behind you because I know how much it wears you down, especially at the Dallas show. And it's behind you, and we'll just be better for this because of it. And just move on, man. Really excited to get out there this weekend. Again, first time Detroit has had a show of this magnitude there. And really excited to see what collections kind of come our way while we're
that's
there.
correct. Yeah, I will be in Detroit. So I'm going to Chicago tomorrow for my daughter's graduation, and then I'll be
Congratulations.
flying straight over to Detroit, and I'll be at the Detroit show Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday morning I will be at the Midwest Monster. So I appreciate you guys chiming in. Final thoughts. Any questions or concerns anybody has today? Also, just so you guys know,
I do want to shout out a buddy of mine that I met through cards. His name is Dad Sports Cards LLC. If you're not following him, he knew the whole situation that happened with the Ant-Man, and he gave me a killer deal on a Kobe Bryant card that kind
oh
of
yeah,
brought me
that's
back
nice.
from the dead, man. So did want to shout him out. And
There you
again,
go.
this hobby.
Hope you keep it and
Uh,
start your Kobe collection back up.
no, we're not going to do that. Pause. Relax. Right. But I will say this, man. The reason I've been in the hobby as long as I have, right, is because of acts of kindness like this. I mean, he didn't want to move it. You can ask Mike and Sky, right? They try to get it off of him. But because of the situation, he kind of took it a little easier on me than he probably would have others. So just wanted to shout him out, man, and just shout out all the gracious things that have happened for me through the hobby and the reason why I did choose to do it as my career profession. So just wanted to say thanks. Hell, I met you through sports cards, man. So it's pretty amazing.
Yes, I agree, and you've been a great friend. Been a great friend, and also a great partner for the show. I guess the final thoughts. Oh, I want to shout out these artists again. I did want to show off the artists. I meant to do that with Card Carver, but I felt like it was a little disrespectful to talk about other artists with Card Carver.
Nah, man, I think he appreciates the space, right? I think
Yeah,
he
yeah, 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 yeah,
appreciates
yeah,
the innovation of it. I think the only thing that he had was the cookie cutters, right?
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
outside of that, I think he was pretty appreciative, and I think he's a aficionado of the custom card world.
Well, again, I've showed you guys a lot of the Card Carver cards, a few of the cards he actually did for Culture Collision. I gave away 3 of them. Shout out to Joel. I don't remember the other guy's name, so feel free to please DM me again your address, because through all the stuff I've been dealing with for like the last 2 weeks, I apologize, been lost in transition, but I will get this stuff out to you. Joel, I already gave you an extra card, so I'll make sure you get your cards. And ship that out, the autograph Carver card.
And they're probably worth over 1,000, so you should probably overnight it.
You said what?
I said they're probably worth over $1,000 now, so you should probably
Woo!
overnight it.
You're probably right. The prices are going up for Card Carver. But look, check this out. One of my art cards, Alf 101 from Andy Freeman. Natural, autograph Natural. The Darth Vader, LeBron James card. One of my favorite cards, there was a custom card. This is actually from Reclaim. Terry Doolin card, which is a really cool card. You have one too. Yeah. It's only 23 made, man. Rest in peace.
That was a
Terry
neat
Doolin.
take, though. Shout out to Windy City Sports Cards, man.
That's correct.
He collabed on that card.
Yes.
And gave it out to all
game
those
worn
family
jersey.
And friends. Yeah, and it was a game worn. Yeah, game worn jersey.
Very dope. And actually, the artist that actually did this, this was gosh, don't make me lie to you. What's the artist's name who did this? Julian Jeffries. Julian Jeffries, the artist that did this, he recreated this for me. I literally gave them the idea. I said I want to make a Mount Rushmore of my friends in the hobby. So I shout out to Jesse, Cora Howard, Lee Phillips, and Terry Doolin. Sorry about that, guys. It's been so long. I made this shirt a couple years ago, so it was a great time for that. Other artists I want to include is Piggy Banks. He's probably one of the hottest right now. Piggy Banks is really good work. And most of the stuff are one-on-ones. Huh?
Where's the Kid Culture one?
Actually, I was going to show that last. So no one will ever own this Black Label Superfractor Kid Culture.
I tried to take it. I tried to take it last year in Atlanta.
Comp this. I need to put this on every display case. You know, I'm gonna keep this and put this on my display case every time I set up at a show because I want you to be like, comp this, the super fractor. He also gave me a regular fractor version. I'm probably gonna be giving away at the next Culture Collision. I'm gonna give it away. I'm letting you know. I'm giving the regular fractor away by Piggy Banks. It's a one of one. He hasn't made a whole lot of collaborations with other people, so I thought it was really dope that he actually did something for me. But no one will ever own a super fractor. It's something I'm keeping forever. I'm probably gonna get an autograph from him. And then the other one I'm gonna give away at the next Culture Collision. So stay tuned for that. And then plus my PC card, the Topps Prizm Goddess.
Hey, don't say that too loud. My wife listening, man. She's gonna make me want to make her card.
Well, my Topps Prizm Goddess one of one card that I got made a long time ago on the Topps website. Which I thought was a really cool custom card. And shout out to the people who actually send me free products. Rookie Patch Autos, RPAJ. I got 2 more packs to give away that I'm gonna give away to my guys who won last time. Once they hop on, I'll make sure I get that stuff out to them. And then also I was supposed to open up this box online. This is actually from Immortals Timeless Legacies BG. Dang. I'm kind of fast forward a little bit, but I know I was supposed to actually open this stuff online, so I might as well open it up right now. I actually have another box that somebody gave me, and this is really cool custom cards that people actually. Oh shoot, hold on. I actually opened this a little early, but it's an autograph card. It's not an autograph card, but it actually talks about it. Breakthrough Certificate of Authenticity, Breakthrough Artist and Athlete, and this is Jordan Spector Breakthrough card. Oh, yeah, this is really cool. Kind of very similar to the PMG. Brandon Graham. That's a really cool card. Look at that art on that card. That is a beautiful card. Appreciate you very much, Jordan Spector. I know he hit me up, asked me if I put it on the live feed last week. I did not do that, so I apologize. I'll make sure I get a video out. And thank you to all the artists in the industry for continuing to grow this space. Man, that's all I can really say for right now. Shout out to companies like Rappers Cards trying to push the envelope too and bring pop culture to the masses. And that's basically it, man. I got some other things brewing. Next thing is people keep asking about this hat. This is the Coach Collision collaboration with New Era. Man, this is actually, I'll call it Never Home But Always Reppin'. It's a really cool hat. It's actually the Chicago White Sox logo from 1905 to they only used this logo for 1 year, 1905 to 1906. But I thought it was a really good play on Culture Collision. So I used the C. It also glows in the dark. It actually glows in the dark on the side. I'm actually going to make this hat available to the public next week. So look for the link. I'm going to be posting it next week. There's only 100 hats made, and I can tell you right now, I've already pre-sold a little bit more than that. Not a little bit more than that, but a nice amount of those in advance. So make sure you get your size while you can, because you'll never see it publicly sold outside of me putting it out there. Any other final thoughts, Mark? Thank you, Mike.
When can I get my hat, man?
We already paid for your hat. I'm waiting on the hat pins. The hat pins should be here in another week or so, which is why I'm pushing it, because I don't want everybody to wait for that hat. I will hold about 18 hats for Culture Collision. So we'll have around 20 hats for Culture Collision for people to be able to buy them at the show. Other than that, I'm going to release 80 to the wild. There's only 100 hats. There's going to be 80 released to the wild. The rest will be sold at Culture Collision.
Nice.
All right. Any other thoughts? Oh, Culture Collision. Next Culture Collision is September 13th. Make sure you book your tables. If you want to become a vendor, buy your ticket. Make sure you come to the best show on the planet. Brought to you by me and Miss Prizm Goddess. Mark will probably be there. Get her to flip it. Wiz will be there. My whole crew will be there. Man, Atlanta's going to be there. The South's going to be there. And we got a lot to say. What else? Anything else?
Just excited for this weekend, man. It's going to be another grind. And you know, people make it look easy, man, traveling out there every week, man. But it's a grind, man. So
it is.
Hopefully we can get some rest, and we're not sick when we come back and have to cancel another show like you did to us last week.
Oh man, look, I'm still kind of coughing a little bit because I still haven't got a chance to really sit down on my butt. Like what's crazy is after we left Houston, I went straight to meet Miss Prizm Goddess in Florida to relax for a day or two, and then came straight home. And guess what? I got to leave tomorrow. So I'm not even able to really sit down. And like, I just remember, like, even when I got back from Iceland, I didn't even get a chance to really chill in. Let's see. Some Retro Wave Rip says, Do you do the show in one place or you move around the country? Coming soon to move around the country. Right now, we're only an Atlanta-based show. Let's say Prizm. Are you doing any other Fanatics events? Good question. I wasn't invited to any Fanatics events, but maybe we'll see what happens in the future. I will be at the Fanatics show. I always like to see what great ideas that other people have. So I always like, even though I have my own creative space to do Culture Collision, I always like to see what other people are bringing to the table. So, and that's kind of it. What you thinking?
Hey, since we don't get the intro, man, do we get the outro?
No, man, I completely got rid of it, man. I'm gonna work on something new, man. Something new, a little bit more me and you versus just being all me. At some point in time, I know we're gonna have some really cool guests. I know we still got to get DJ Ski. I'm gonna reach out to DJ Ski so we can get him on next week. If not, I know we have. It'd be dope to get Kenny on here. Kenny's a really cool guy, kind of space. Love to try to bring back Rolf at some point in time. Anybody that you guys want us to bring on the channel
to collect the sports card collectible, but they should really be at shows, right? I think that'll do well. I know we have a lot of grading companies that go out there, but I've never seen an collectible insurance company, and I think that'll kind of.
You know what? That's a great point. Maybe I'll reach out to them to make sure that at the next Culture Collision, that way we have some representation at the show. That's a great idea. So I think I'll definitely make sure I reach out to these guys and bring them to the show and to have them have a panel for the show to make sure that they're talking about it. So I'll just say, hey, I'm not only a client, I'm also the president. Retro Wave Rips bet because I am terrified to fly. I need something in Texas. It's funny you say that because going to the Houston show this past weekend with Mark, I was thinking to myself, like, wouldn't it be dope to do Culture Collision in Houston?
I want to do the one in Chicago too. So Chicago, Houston definitely are the two destinations. I do like Chicago.
Yep, and also have other destinations I'm considering as well. But man, this is always fun to come up with these cool ideas. I appreciate you guys chiming in on the show. We gave you guys an extra 40 minutes of content and material, but we owed you that from last week anyway. So it's
like a double show.
It's like you got a double show. So we appreciate you guys coming on, listening. We won't talk your head off too much more. We appreciate you chiming in. And you want to say anything else, Mark?
That's all I got, man. I got to go get some water, man. My mouth dry as heck.
I told you what you got to do. You got to keep that bottle of water on deck, man. You got to keep that bottle of water. But I still look forward to seeing you this weekend. We get a chance to watch the game tomorrow night. Was it tomorrow night? No, it's Thursday night. No, it's Thursday night. Yep. So I guess we'll watch the game on Thursday night in Detroit.
Sounds good, brother. Thank
you
for
man,
everything.
Peace. Joel, send me another message, man, for your address. I'm gonna get your special card out. Remember, you got the Spider-Man card too coming with the other card. So
hey, it's gonna get lost. It's gonna get lost in the mail to me, Joe.
No, it's not gonna get lost in the mail. I promise you. Thank you. Peace out, guys. Good night.